The game should bring you a pleasure. Lesson 1. Blocking players. Often the pleasure is spoiled by other players and there is a weapon against them, the blacklist. It allows you block all interactions in the game with a chosen player. To block a player you need, be in the game, invade to a player world, or have a player invasion to your world. Open the Steam overlay by pressing Shift plus Tab. Press the button, View Players, inside of the Friends List window. Click on the tab, Recent Games, inside the Players window. The list is sorted from the last session to the oldest one. Click on the profile link of a player. On the profile page, click on the button with the 3 dots. In the drop-down menu, click on the button, Block All Communications. Then, confirm your decision. A reason to block a player may be anything: cheating, bad internet connection, bad attitude or rudeness. Choose whatever you'd like, the other side will not notice that. In most cases, a blocked player cannot invade to your world, and you cannot invade to worlds of the blocked players. Both sides cannot see their summon signs too. There is also a side effect. If you have already invaded a third-person world and the owner of the world is trying to summon a player which is in your blacklist, then the blocked player will not be summoned. Lesson 2. Etiquette. When you have invaded to a player world as the Red Phantom, show your good manners. By doing this you demonstrate to an opponent that you have nothing personal against one. Before a fight, use the bow or the proper bow gesture in the front of your opponent in the way that one can see you. A reciprocal bow of the opponent is not necessary, but you can wait a few seconds, because inexperienced players may not show it right away. On the other side, when somebody has invaded to your world, follow good manners too. Ending a fight by demonstrating your good manners is also desirable. Sure, there are exceptions. Dragonborns do not bow. There are situations when no time for the etiquette. Rushing to an opponent and killing one in a second will satisfy you at first, but also may lead to unexpected results, such as the blocking, sometimes even forever. But mostly, rushing to an opponent is just making angry the one, and, instead of fun, both sides receive a low-quality combat. It is good to know about issues with the point-down gesture. By showing this gesture in the start of a fight, you may angry an opponent and both sides receive no fun. On the other hand, an opponent may take offense if you win a battle not fair, and then you show this gesture. And by showing this gesture in the end of a battle when you and your friends overcame an opponent, makes you look like a fool. It is not your victory, but also of your friends too. When you have joined to a battle in the middle, then showing gestures is highly not recommended. There are also special gestures, which may come in handy. When you do not want to fight, use the prayer gesture. Show the gesture a few times, so an opponent will notice your decision to not fighting. Removing weapons and shield will also tell an opponent that you do not wish to fight. Also, you may turn your back to an opponent. Some skilled players may follow special rules. Do not attack an opponent when the one have a fight against mobs and NPCs. Do not kill busy players. Do not use the Estus in duels. Remember, our pleasure is in our hands. Lesson 3. General Rules of Invasions. A successful invasion must meet specific requirements. First of all, you must be in a location where invasions are allowed. Most locations are splitted by several zones. A zone can be a safe one. Inside of a safe zone, you cannot invade to player worlds and other players cannot invade to your world. You may check if this zone is available for invasions by trying place your summon sign on the ground. You cannot place your summon sign in a safe zone. A boss of a location must be alive in a world of a player, otherwise, you cannot invade to this world. Many locations are connected to each other seamlessly. Therefore, you should learn which boss is referenced to this zone. In almost all cases, a zone, where an invader will be summoned, will be the same to that, where the invader has been started the invasion attempt. There are 2 cooldown timers that prevent an owner of a world from getting invaded. One is for the Red Phantoms and the second for the Dark Moon Phantoms. Both timers act independently of each other. A cooldown timer starts working right after the moment when a hostile phantom leaves your world. It does not matter how exactly phantoms leave, as the timer is triggered regardless of who wins during a battle. By default, both timers are set to 15 minutes and may be extended further up to 30 minutes if the invaded player experiences subsequent invasions soon after the initial cooldown period ends. Exiting the game by pressing Alt plus F4 during an invasion does not trigger a cooldown timer. Entering to the game right after that will result in immediate opening your world for a new invasion. You may clear both cooldown timers by using the following items. By using the dried finger, by using the Eye of Death, both the dried finger and Eye of Death have a permanent effect until a player dies or reloads an area. There is no need to use them repeatedly. Also, you may clear cooldown timers by using either the Red Eye Orb or the Cracked Red Eye Orb. by using the red sign soapstone. The red sign soapstone and any of red eye orbs will clear only currently active timers. Lesson 4. Matchmaking. After the general requirements of the invasion have been met, the game begins to organize a match. The selection of players takes into account the level ranges and weapon levels of the participants. The level range formula depends on the items used to invade and summon a player. During matchmaking, the game takes into account the highest level of a weapon you ever have. This means that it does not depend on a weapon level in your hands in current moment. It also does not depend on where exactly your best weapon is, in your pockets, or inside of bottomless box. Even if you drop your best weapon to the ground, the game will still remember its level. And of course the game won't care if you don't have enough attributes to properly use your weapon. The only way to reset the weapon level is by starting a new game. The weapon level matchmaking applies to all weapons and shields in the game. Armor, rings, and spells do not affect the weapon level. For instance, if you would pick up the Astora Straight Sword, Dragon Crest Shield or Drake Sword in the beginning of the game, then your weapon level would be +5. What does this mean for me, you ask? This means that the matchmaking system will change. Instead of fighting players with the maximum weapon level of +5, very soon you will encounter opponents with a +10 weapon level. After meeting all the requirements, the game organizes an online session between the invader and the owner of the world. In the description of this video, you will find links for detailed information. Lesson 5. Combat Items. The success of the battle depends not only on your equipment and spells, but also on the useful items described further. The Lloyd's Talisman prevents an opponent of using the Estus within a limited time. Use it when you are ready to win a battle. The Lloyd's Talisman is also very useful when fighting against multiple foes. The Green Blossom increases stamina recovery by 40 points. It is twice better than the Chloranthy Ring, and by 4 times better than the Grass Crest Shield or Mask of the Child. By the way, the Green Blossom may be used alongside with them to increase stamina regeneration even more. Use it before a fight. Use the green blossom when you need to run away or chase your prey. The gold pine resin adds 150 points of lightning damage to right-hand weapon, and the charcoal pine resin adds 80 points of fire damage to right-hand weapon. Both pine resins may only be used on enchantable weapons that are upgraded down the standard, raw or crystal paths, as well as few exceptions. Special weapon attacks will also have the increased damage. The silver pendant will protect you from dark sorcery and black flame. You have to practice a bit to understand when and how to use it against different dark sorcery spells. While the homeward bone is not a combat item, it is useful to know when someone has invaded to your world. Put homeward bone to a quick item slot and watch on it when you are in an area where a boss is not cleared yet. In the moment when an invasion has been started, the homeward bone will become inactive. The message about the invasion will be displayed about 10 seconds later, but you will knew about that already. Lesson 6. The Indictments. The Blade of the Dark Moon Covenant is responsible to bring a justice to the world. They are like a police, and to penalize an intruder they must know about the crime. A victim should use the indictment to report about injustice. First, you have to buy the indictment from Oswald of Karim after defeating the Bell Gargoyles in Undead Parish. It is enough to buy only one copy.
Stocking up on indictments? How honorable of you.
Later, once the indictment is in your pockets, you may give indictments to other players. You will be asked about that in case if you lose a battle. In general, the role of the indictments is increasing amount of fights between players. Due to the low amount of players playing the game nowadays, it is important as never before. Give the indictments and often. Lesson 7. Build Fundamentals. When you are creating a build for PvP, you have to take into account the basics of any build. First of all, you must know about the meta level for PvP. This level indicates the highest desirable level. The current meta level is equal to 125. Keep your level about this value to increase chances for getting into the battles. But also, you should know that any build has its own most effective level. This level will give you more benefits in compare when it's lower or higher. And of course, each location has its best levels for invasions or to be invaded. Let's take a few examples to understand how your level depends on a location in context of invasions. The Ulassel Township is suited best for meta levels. If you would have to arrive here with much less level, then you have almost no chances for invasions. On other hand, the Sens Fortress is best suited for levels between 30 and 60. Therefore, you may create a build for level 40 and this build may be enjoyable to you. Each location has its own design, color, style and size. If you don't like a location, try another with a different build. Remember, the game should bring you a pleasure. Most people have start creating a build by choosing a weapon, spells and play style. Then, You should choose which kind of armor your character will wear. The question is which kind of rolls satisfy you: fast, normal, slow, or even fat rolls. New players could be afraid of using slow rolls. In the reality, they are less important as you could imagine. But also keep in mind that a heavy armor has effect on the stamina recovery and movement speed. The most important stat of armor is the poise. It may be described in the following statements. Each hit of a weapon decreases the poise value. If this value reaches 0 or below, then a character will become stunned for a second. It is automatically recovering up to the maximum each few seconds. You may increase the poise by wearing a heavy armor, the wolf ring, and by using the iron flesh pyromancy. Magical numbers are 31, 53, 61 and 76. There are situations called as the stun lock. It is a bad moments when you get hits and you cannot do anything. Try to increase the poise to prevent them. When distributing attribute points, pay special attention to the vitality and endurance. Due to the specific of the implementation of armor defense, there is never be a moment when you can tell, I have enough health. When you do not know how to distribute your points, choose the vitality first. The endurance controls your stamina, maximum equip load, and resistance to bleeding. The maximum number of hits in a row that you can do with your weapon also depends on your stamina. And, of course, the stamina determines the amount of hits you could block with a weapon or shield. Depending on your play style, you have a few options. Keep your endurance on the required minimum when you are sure that you may deal enough blows in a row to defeat an opponent. Either raise your endurance, so you would have the maximum value of the stamina. And think very carefully, if you are increasing the endurance over 40. In the end, you should have a build which gives you a few benefits in compare with other builds around your level. Try to experiment. There are a lot of combinations of weapons, armor and spells. Thank you for watching the video.